Booksy, welcome back to my channel. It is Friday, April 19th, 2019, and I've only made one video this week, I think. And I started off saying that I wanted to film and upload videos every day or every other day, and this week I haven't been able to stick to that schedule. I've not been feeling the greatest. I've been busy, but I've also been a little not feeling myself, and so while I haven't been able to make full videos, I've been filming recaps. I've been trying to go back to my vlog style recaps for my closer book videos. You know, I stopped doing those because I was giving myself time to process the experience of reading the book, giving myself time to kind of dwell on what I'd read and form complete coherent sentences about my feelings. But what's been happening is that as I'm giving myself time to meditate on a book, more and more time is passing. I'm reading more and more, and the time just seems to get away from me. And so I'm still in the middle of doing closer book recaps for books that I read in February. So I don't want to do that anymore. I'm going to go back to doing my more immediate responses, which means that maybe I don't say all the perfect things that I'd like to when I review or share my thoughts on a book, but it also means that my videos are a little bit more timely. So I think that I prefer that than to have perfect reviews. So you're gonna hear a little bit more from me in terms of me getting my closer book videos up and ready. But for now, I thought I'd come on here and just make a video today and tell you the books that I've read in the last few days. So today, for the first time, I'm making a Friday Reads video. I enjoy watching Friday Reads videos. Every Friday, I know I'm going to be able to see a video recap from Sean of Sean the Book Maniac, and Doris from All the Books, and Robert from Barter Hordes, and those are consistent. Other people make Friday Reads videos and they're a little bit more sporadic, but those three I know for sure they're coming every Friday. And on Monday, Mel does Monday Look Back or something. I don't remember what she calls it, but those are videos that I know are coming, and I'd love to be able to do that kind of a recap on a more consistent basis. It's just my schedule sometimes is unpredictable. But today is Good Friday. I'm home, and I thought I would just pop on here and tell you some of the books that I have read in the last few days, and what I'm reading now, and what I'm going to be reading the next few days, I think. So this week I finished 3 books. The first book that I finished was The Wife by Meg Wolitzer, and that one I read because I needed to read a book that was adapted for a movie. That is for a challenge that I'm doing on Facebook, and I needed to read that book by the end of the month. So I still have about 4 books to complete that challenge, but that was one book that I was able to cross off my list. And I loved a lot of things about that book, but I also found some things lacking. And I talked about it because I've already filmed my recap for that book. So that video is coming maybe tomorrow or Sunday, because I filmed it and I just need to edit it. So you'll hear a little bit more about my thoughts on The Wife by Meg Wolitzer. It's my first time reading anything by her, and I really enjoyed her writing. I thought it was so clever and so literary. And I love the connections that she made between the themes that she was talking about. She talked a lot about feminism and how the role of women in relationships and the perception of what a wife is has changed in the generations that she talks about in her book. Because the book starts off kind of in the 50s when the main character and her husband are in college, and we follow them through a 40-year relationship through a series of flashbacks and current day. And I thought it was brilliant. It was written early on in Meg Wolitzer's career, and so I just want to read everything that she's written since then. So I'm gonna gush more about that in my recap, my closer book video. The next thing I read was A Natural Way of Things by Charlotte Wood, which is the 2016 Stella Prize winner. And I read that one because, of course, I'm doing #AussieApril, where I'm reading books by Australian authors in April, along with all the other books that I'm reading. But I also enjoyed a lot of things about that book. I felt like she discussed feminism and the perception of female power, both from the perspective of women who see themselves as the weaker vessel, and women who know that they're stronger than this thought but don't really act on it. as well as how women are perceived from the outside by men. And I thought that she achieved quite an ironic view of women. But again, I'm going to gush more about that in my closer book video, which is coming in another couple of days. But the last thing that I finished this week, which I just finished today, is The Field Guide to the North American Teenager by Ben Philippe. And this is YA fiction about a Haitian Canadian teenager who moves to Texas and is having the toughest time adapting to everything, including the heat. And I liked a lot about how this author wrote, except I didn't like the main character in this novel. I thought he was a jerk, and that didn't change from most of the novel. This is a 372 page book, and at 323 pages I was still feeling very put off by the main character. Also reading Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I thought I read that book. In fact, I'm pretty sure I read that book when I was a teenager, and so I remember nothing about it except that Jane was an orphan and living in a house with people who were her relatives but didn't treat her like family, and eventually she found this new life with other people. And I'm reading it. I'm reading a free copy of this book, a PDF version on my phone, so it's one of my mobile take-arounds. So I'm reading it a little bit slowly just because I'm reading it while I'm out, and I'm liking it. I'm about 150 pages in. I started it yesterday, and so I'm looking forward to finishing that maybe sometime over the weekend. We have a trip this weekend, so I think I'll be able to read that. Oh, and I should have mentioned, the reason that I don't have the first 2 books that I finished this week is because I returned them to the library already. I've been hoarding library books. I have so many library books, and I kind of want to clear them out. Books that I've finished and I've been holding on to them to make videos. I'm just making the videos so I can return them. And so the 2 books that I finished this week, I could have held on to them a little longer. I just got a little caught up in the purge, and so I brought them back to the library, maybe a little bit prematurely, but they're back. And so the books that I'm going to be reading in the next couple of days, I'm still reading The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. I only got to page 100 and something in this book. I was really enjoying it, but I got a little sidetracked and I found it a little difficult to get back to it. I might have to start it again because I feel like I've forgotten some things that might be essential to me really getting back invested in the plot. So I'm going to be trying to finish this up in the next few days. I also have my Runwright Reads book club book pick to read, and that's Salman Rushdie's Midnight's Children, which I read last year, and I'm looking forward to going back to. Another big one. This is about 540 pages. And then I have one more book that I need to get to this week for #AussieApril. This is Terra Nullius by Claire G. Coleman. She's an Indigenous Australian author, and I need to read that as one of the prompts for the #AussieApril readathon. And this one is not that big. It is 300 pages. Okay, so quite normal size. That's my first Friday Reads video. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it, subscribe if you want to see more, and let me know in the comments if you like Friday Reads videos, if you're one of those people who love to see a weekly recap from your favorite booktubers. I'm assuming that I'm one of your favorite booktubers since you're here watching this video. Thanks for being here. Let's talk in the comments, and until next time, happy reading.